This is a Dell Inspiron 3780. It's a pretty big boy. It's a nice big 17-inch computer. It has an 8th gen Core i3 processor. Unfortunately, it's slower than a dead dog. And why is that? It's because this poor, sad computer unfortunately has 4 gigabytes of RAM, a mechanical hard drive, and Windows 11. That's pretty bad. So we're going to take it apart and get this thing upgraded. As is custom, we take all the screws out of the bottom. I am probably going to speed this part up so that you don't have to watch me do it. It also feels like these screws back here may have some kind of retaining ring. So it seems that you should not be surprised. Yeah, those aren't coming out. So maybe the screws won't come all the way out for all of the screws. Don't be shocked if some of them just won't. It seems that they are, in fact, being retained. So, speeding it up. Once all the screws have been removed, remove the optical drive. I wouldn't be surprised if some models don't have one. And then it looks like they've hidden 2 more screws underneath the optical drive. We'll go ahead and remove those as well. And now we need to get this plate up. This is usually the part where it gets difficult and I end up having to pry things. But this one does seem to have some give to it right off the bat. Here, let's see if I can just snake a pry tool up into this seam I can feel right here. You gonna be that way today? Okay. So it's a big computer. Look at the size of this thing. It's already coming apart here at the back. So I'm just gonna take my pry tool here. Do not criticize me for having a metal pry tool. I've heard it a million times. I have my reasons. I don't care what you use, but don't criticize the tools I use because you're wrong. I've been doing this for years. I've settled on metal pry tools for most jobs, and I have my reasons. You're free to disagree, but you're not me. You don't know what I do. You're wrong. Okay. Immediately, I do not like the way that these hinges are set up. I'm noticing that the hinge design has these plastic posts, and in my experience, that is pretty easily broken. So I don't like that. Those hinge screws are loose a bit. I always tighten up these hinge screws on these laptops. You can pretty much look at the hinge and just immediately tell what needs to be checked. There's 3 going to this hinge. And here's where problem number 1 is. This is the RAM right here. And we need this RAM. What is this? This is 4 gigabytes of DDR4. So we need more RAM than that. Let me get my memory box. And I'm going to see what I've got. I don't have my memory box. So let's just explore a little more before we jump to any conclusions. So here's our hard drive, and I see something suspicious over here. I want to install an SSD. Over here appears to be an M2 slot for an SSD, but it looks like it has something in it. And it's got 2 screws holding this plate over it. So that's very interesting indeed. And there goes the plate. And there is, in fact, an Intel Optane accelerator. This is bad. This is very bad. I'm not happy at all about this, because if there's an Intel Optane thing in here, that could mean that we can't actually do anything. Okay, so if you were to upgrade this to an M2 SSD, this Optane here, it should be NVMe. You should be able to put a regular old NVMe M2 SSD here. It's got 2 memory slots, and it's got a hard drive here. And we're going to, at a minimum, swap this drive out for an SSD, but I was hoping I could put in a much faster one here. this would be better. If you're going to refresh the heatsink grease, 4 screws here, and that should come up. If the fan's attached, then there's 3 screws holding that, and there's 1 wire here that you can pull back. But it looks like this is probably accessible without removing this fan, and Wi-Fi is just your standard M2 PCI Express. Standard DDR4 memory slots. I bet it holds 32 gigs if you really want it to for some reason. There's your battery. Again, this is only held in with 4 screws, and it's got a cable that is removable from the actual battery. So it's pretty straightforward to upgrade this stuff. Take the shield off to get to this SSD here. Take the 4 screws off here to get the bracket for the hard drive and pull the wire out. 2 memory sticks you can, pivot and clip. It's easy. And there's a screw here that retains the Wi-Fi antennas. If you wanted to upgrade the Wi-Fi card, you could do that. The optical drive is pretty straightforward, and nobody ever upgrades optical drive, so I'm not exactly that worried about it. Wait, did that say DVD/CD rewritable? What? It's not a DVD burner? A computer that for some reason comes with an optical drive in the late 2010s. And the optical drive is not a DVD burner. It implies on this label it's only a DVD reader and CD reader and writer. How cheap? Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me. This is okay. All right. Well, that's the basic disassembly. I'm going to have to deal with this Optane situation. You've got to turn off Optane before you actually go in there and attempt to put in a new SSD if you're going to be cloning anything anyway. And unfortunately, that is what I'm doing, so I may be in some trouble here. Anyway, I hope that disassembly has been helpful to you, so you can get in and out of this computer pretty easily. All right. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Take care.